Hey y'all. I believe it's October the 20th, 2018. Thank you, and I appreciate you for joining me. It's a lot of sound, there's a lot of noise out here, and people mowing their grasses and stuff. But I wanted to holler at y'all real quick, just real briefly, because you already know I am busy at work, like an elf in the workshop, working on this documentary, and this documentary is going to come to you straight away, like I said, before November. Um, Real briefly, I gotta let you know I've been doing all sort of things, man. I've been running around, fixing stuff and putting stuff together. I haven't even gone to sleep. I've been up for a long, long time. But um, I am looking forward to putting a little bit more work in this documentary. Like I said, you're gonna get it before November. That being said, I thought we would go ahead and just check out this here article. You already see what it is, all right? And for those of us, kind of already in the know, you already know where this is going. Right? It's so very obvious. Um, but I thought we'd read a little bit of this article and discuss how stuff not only is over the top, not only is just extremely absurd, upside down, Twilight Zone of epic proportions. Not only that, but it gets worse and worse and worse every day, every single day, to include today. And I saw this article, actually, I think it might have dropped yesterday, 19 hours ago. So technically, that is still today. We're talking about breaking news. We're talking about breaking news. See, the thing is, it gets worse and worse and worse. And it seems to be no end to it, right? And for those people who might be new to the channel, I get a subscriber or two every other couple of days. All right. I just want to say, you're going to hear a lot of wild, crazy stuff, man. It's just what happens. It's what happens on this channel. You might not agree with any of it, and that's cool. That's wonderful. Thing is, this Parkland thing, you might think I'm looking into it. You might think that I'm reaching when I do things like read these certain articles. You might not get it all the way necessarily, and I don't even blame you, all right? But just to let you know, it's before November, you're going to get that documentary. And dude, I dare you to try to refute it, all right? So that being said, we're going to go ahead and try and read this article real quick. You already read the headline. Let me go ahead and read the headline one more time. Says Parkland shooter chatted regularly with pal thousands of miles away before massacre. And so, I was like, that's pretty interesting, ain't it? So Storm Gifford from the Daily News, I was like, I find that pretty interesting. I thought I would go ahead and dive down that rabbit hole. All right. So here we are. We got one of the most ominous pictures of Nikolas Cruz. Before I start the article, I want to let you know that, of course, the documentary is going to be very much evidence-based, or lack thereof, of the shooting, Parkland, Florida. It's definitely going to be evidence-based, but it's also going to be very heavy on the fact is that Nikolas Cruz is demonized like you wouldn't believe, all over the place. You might say, well, he's a school shooter, he's an alleged school shooter, all right? Well, if that is the case, why would you even have to continue demonizing him? I mean, we're talking about 8 months later. People are digging into nooks and crannies, my friends. Nooks and crannies. And you see that. It's right in front of us. They're using the most ominous pictures and stuff. Let me run through the article and stuff. We're going to see what kind of details we're learning right now. And like I said, Storm Gifford. Courtesy of Storm Gifford, the 19-year-old gunman behind one of the worst school mass shootings in U.S. history, allegedly, confided to a 13-year-old girl more than 2,000 miles away that he was suicidal and upset about being bullied. All right, let's just continue a little bit further before we discuss some of the findings. Nikolas Cruz, now 20, I guess he had his birthday over there in jail, confessed to killing 17 people and wounding 17 others after opening fire at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida on February 14th. Now, I know a lot of people would like to bring that up. Oh, he confessed. Oh, well, so that means he definitely did it. Y'all, I didn't invent the term coerced confession. Like, that's not something that I created in my head, or neither did you. Before we were born, that term was being used. Coerced confessions happens actually a lot. It happened actually right in front of our faces. So they like to bring that up, just so that you know. He was angry at the school because he got bullied a lot. Now, this is from the unidentified teen from Washington State who told a detective investigating the massacre. All right, and I do believe that this teen. I mean, I believe it's hard to know what to believe, but I'm gonna go ahead and believe that this is a actual young girl. All right, so from Washington State, who told a detective investigating the massacre. He said he was like pushed around and beat up sometimes. I'm willing to believe that. I'm willing to believe that. He said it made him feel very like sad and that he hated the school because of it. How many hundreds of thousands of children would you say that appropriately describes in our nation? I wonder. The girl claimed to have communicated with the alleged killer. They left out that word. The alleged killer through phone calls and texts after meeting on an Instagram page, which I totally believe, for adolescents considering suicide, reported the Miami Herald. And I'm just willing to believe all this, what they're telling me, all right? Just, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. So we're going to continue through this article. While there is little evidence that Cruz was bullied in school, and this is coming from like the authority, I guess, telling us that there was little evidence that Cruz was bullied in school. How they would know, I don't know. I don't know how they would know. Many students and adults were disturbed by his, here's where they're going to start piling on, right? Bizarre and occasionally violent behavior. This demon boy behavior before he left Marjory Stoneman Douglas. He was Jekyll and Hyde, said ex-neighbor, some random guy, Paul Gold. He was very nice, very polite, sweet person when he was sweet, and then, he would freak out. Start throwing things, and start breaking things, and start holding his ears and screaming. All right, like I said, complete stranger. Why would we know who this guy is? All right, Paul Gold, the neighbor. He was talking about Nicholas Cruz, saying, he's actually a real good guy, but sometimes, he gets real upset. That's what he's saying. He freaks out. He starts throwing things, starts breaking things. Starts holding his ears and screaming. I don't expect everybody to know this, but those are the very typical signs of a autistic child who's having a tough time. All right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. They didn't mention it. They're not mentioning it in this article, nothing about it. But basically, they're describing how sometimes he would get overwhelmed and upset, start rubbing his ears, all right? Perhaps screaming. All right, continuing to demonize Nicholas Cruz, who's sitting in jail, has no way to defend himself over any of this. All right, just piling it on, like 8 months after the fact. They can't get enough. They can't stop. They won't stop. All right. Who's doing it? It's almost as though it's organized. The mother of Cruz's female friend claims to have been stunned when the detectives told her they had phone records indicating prevalent communication between her daughter and Cruz, but she claims that the contact halted weeks before the shooting. The texts were pretty normal, she said. You notice when a lot of people describe Cruz, they say he's pretty normal, that he's pretty polite, he's a pretty sweet guy, he's one of the nicest guys they ever met in their life. Have you ever noticed that? I'm talking about like coworkers. I'm talking about people across the nation. I'm talking about, people who known him since he was a little boy in elementary school and stuff like that. All sort of people. It's like, dude, I'm not even going to continue to the end of the article. Oh my gosh, that's the end of the article. These people get paid for this, you guys. They get paid money to do this, to write these piddly little articles. Might as well read the rest. Okay, the texts were pretty normal. She said blah, blah, blah. But it was traumatizing for my daughter after realizing Cruz allegedly was the Parkland gunman. She thought he was a decent person. She would have said something if she thought those kids were in danger. All right, and it's an article written about nothing at all. I thought that there was more to it because I read another article. Oh man, this is blowing my mind, y'all. Because this wasn't even the article that I'd read. And I read the exact same article somewhere else. They even went into how, both of the teenagers lied about about their age and stuff, and they were just really digging in. They were trying to dig in so hard to incriminate for what? For viewership, for ratings and stuff like that. Y'all that bloodthirsty? Here's the thing. Just so that everybody knows, keep it real simple. The reason that they don't let all sort of details out to the public during such court proceedings and stuff like that is because people will go wild and crazy and start throwing around accusations, start taking all sort of hearsay and start demonizing this boy, and there ain't nothing he could do about it, basically. All right, anyways, the documentary is coming pretty soon. I'll holler at y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all keep throwing me some hints and tips because I learn new things every single day, and I appreciate y'all. And I'll holler at y'all.